Hello, everybody. I hope all of you are doing really great. Okay, so we're gonna start today's topic, and I hope that other people will come too. As I told you, today I'm going to talk about the systems in our life. It is not really restricted to the life of a mom. It is really a thing that is really beneficial for everyone's life. Systemizing our life is really a game changer if we consider it in our life. After publishing the episodes number 12, 13, and 14, a lot of you reached out to me and told me that what is it about systemizing our meals and our meal preparation, our meal prepping, meal planning, and things like that. And I thought that maybe it is a good idea to just reiterate the benefits and the pros of systemizing our life in some extent. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Okay. If you have ever, thoroughly thought about the definition of systems, systems are a process that you create in order to streamline a handful of actions in your life. Whether these actions are related to meal preparation, whether it is related to meal planning, whether it is related to financial management, or maybe your tasks that are related to your work, anything and any set of actions can have systems in place. And whenever we systemize our actions, it helps us to simplify that kind of action, because some of the times we're finding ourselves on the edge of burnout because a lot of the errands that we have, a lot of the decisions that we have to make, and we cannot really concentrate on what is it the first step that we should do, what is it the second step, and we really miss the priorities of actions in our mind. So systemizing those kind of actions helps us to really decrease the decision fatigue, to really gain the time back to our life. So so just consider it like a kind of automation. Whenever we're working, we have some softwares for automating our tasks related to our job, our career, like for example the project management tools or things like that. These kind of softwares or these kind of tools help us to systemize the process of doing the actions for us. I mean, we define workflow for ourselves, and based on that we take actions one after the other, one after the other. So it really decreases the stress behind taking different and various actions. And so we can reap the benefits of taking actions in various areas of our life. There are numerous opportunities in our life, especially our mom life, that we can reap the benefit of systemizing in order to decrease just the burden on our shoulders, in order to just gain back the time and carve out more time for more important tasks in our life. What we can systemize in our life. As I told you in episodes 12, 13, and 14, we can systemize our meal preparation, we can systemize our meal planning, we can systemize even creating the monthly stock up for ourselves. But other than that, what are the other things? We can systemize the financial management in our home, for example, paying bills or things like that by automation. Automizing the process of paying the bills, for example, from our bank account or things like that. Or we can systemize the house chores. This is a really, juicy one. The process of, for example, deep cleaning in your house, or the process of doing any kind of house chores. In my house, we do deep cleaning once a week based on a system, and for the whole week, we try to keep the system in order to just not waste a lot of time for house cleaning errands, and we just can concentrate on other important tasks during the week, other important actions that are aligned with our long-term goals. So it is a game changer, as I told you. In the long run, you can focus on the majority of the tasks that are aligned with your long-term goals, and so you can as I told you, carve out more time. So how we can get the systems for different actions that we have in our life, how we can get access to a lot of systems. We just need to define what are the sorts of actions that we need system for, and then based on that kind of actions, try to define systems for ourselves. There are two ways to define systems for yourself. I mean, to find systems for yourself. For example, just take this example that you want system for your meal preparation. So you have two ways. The first way, which is the quickest one, is that go and grab a best practice. There are a lot of resources that you can find, and you can search the best, for example, meal preparation system. And you can go and grab them, read about them, listen to the podcasts related to that, or even search through the internet. And based on that, and based on the conditions that you have in your life, just find a single system that you think that it suits you down to the ground. So choose that system and then try to implement it. The benefit of taking your systems from the person that experienced that system before is that it is more likely for you to be the correct system, and you really decreased the risk of not being successful at implementing that system because of the risks of trial and error and things like that. So, for example, for myself, the process of designing a system for my meal preparation took me around 2 years, in order to understand what is it about the meal preparation systems and things like that. I have, implemented a handful of different systems out there. Every kind of system that you may think about it, I have implemented them, and it took me a really decent amount of time in order to understand what is it about the best system for me. And I have implemented the most ideal and perfect systems to the least important of them, and then I went down to the nitty-gritty of every one of them, and eventually I found that okay, these are the systems that I can use and is adapted to my mom life. So as I told you, these kind of systems that you pick from a person that have experienced that before really can have a lot of benefits for you in terms of time. But the second way of adopting different systems is that you yourself design your own system. What do I mean by that? I want to tell you about the process of creating systems for yourself. As I told you, in the first place, you need to know what are the sort of actions that you need to create systems for. Take, for example, the system of meal planning. Okay, so you want to create system for your meal planning. In the first place, I want you to write down the exact steps and actions that you take whenever you're planning for your meals. For example, in the weekends. You're doing something now, okay? But you need to just edit that, and in order to have a more enhanced version of meal planning. So write exactly what are you doing whenever you're meal planning. In the next step, I want you to analyze the exact same actions that you're taking in order to understand that are these actions really aligned with the end goal that you have in your mind. I mean, the end goal is, for example, having a plan for your meals throughout the week that you can stick to it, and it is adapted to your life, and it is applicable for your life. It is doable for your life. So whenever you're taking actions, some of the actions in the process of meal planning, but you see that, for example, the end result is not really that appropriate, and it is not really aligned with your long-term goals. So, for example, you see that your meal plan does not really, you cannot really put it in place. So you can understand that. You can, grab this insight that, yeah, maybe the systems or the set of actions that I'm taking in order to plan my meals is not really that accurate and that appropriate. So in the third step, I want you to design a new process for your set of actions. And what do I mean by that? With having those experiences at the back of your mind, you now know that, for example, the second step that I'm taking each time for example, my meal planning or any kind of action that you want to create system for, the second step is not really that accurate, and it's not really that doable for me, and it is really not necessary to take that action, so you can omit that. Or based on your experiences, based on the track record that you have in your mind, you can define that maybe I need to take this extra action this time in order to make it a better process and a smoother process for this action. So in the third step, as I told you, we design a new process. But in the fourth step, we need to execute that new plan. So this time, when we want to meal plan, we do not need to do it without anything in our mind. We have a kind of instruction that is in the form of a new system that we have designed for that sort of action. And then based on that instruction, we just do that kind of action, for example, meal planning one another time. And this time, with the new system, we can again analyze that. And in the fifth step, step number 5, we need to continuously improve that. And what do I mean by that? Every week, every time that you're doing that sort of action, maybe you're systemizing your workflow, every time that you're doing that, you can continuously improve that based on the result that you get out of that action. So you have a goal for a set of action, and you're doing some steps. You're taking some steps in order to reach to that kind of end result. So we can really compare these two with each other and see that honestly, is it the end result that I wanted? And so for the next time, you can redesign your process and you can redesign your system in order to reach a better system. And this is a gradual path. And for me personally, it is a very pleasant process because I'm all about improving day in and day out, and I'm all about just teeny tiny actions in order to just improve and enhance my life quality in every aspect of my life, whether it is meal planning, whether it is financial management, whether in my job. I'm always trying to automating different tasks and systemizing my life. And I'm here to tell you that it really is a game changer. You can carve out a lot of time for more important tasks in your life. And I don't know, maybe you can find time for the thing that you're always dreaming about, but you cannot really find time for that. So I really suggest you go and listen to episodes 12, 13, and 14 in order to understand what is it really about systemizing, because these are really good examples of systemizing in life. And you can I don't know, maybe expand it to other areas of your life, maybe even for the house chores, maybe for your morning actions. You might have heard about morning routine, night routine, every other action, every other word related to routines. These are some sort of systems that we put in place in order to just facilitate those sort of actions that we are taking every time. So I hope that you all understand about what is it about systems and what are the benefits of them. I hope that by systemizing your life, you reap the benefits of simplifying your life and carve out some time for other areas of your life that you're now holding because of not having time. And before saying goodbye to you, I wanted to tell you something. Some of you reached me in my direct and told me about how you can listen to the podcast. And you told me that this 1-minute podcast that I'm posting in my Instagram page, it is not complete. And where can you listen to the rest of the podcast? I'm here to tell you that those 1-minute voices are just a soundbite of the total podcast, because the total podcasts are at least maybe 20 minutes or so. So it is not really thank you so much. It is not really convenient for me to put the podcast totally here. There are a handful of designated applications out there for podcast listening based on the kind of mobile phone that you have. There are a lot of applications like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Spotify, and a lot of other applications. You can just go there in any of the applications that you have and just type the word MamaNest and you can find it and can subscribe and listen to the podcasts. And beside that, we have provided you with the MamaNest website and the page of podcasts in MamaNest website. From there also you can listen to the podcasts, and there is a new facility in the podcast player that we're providing in MamaNest website that you can search for the exact word or keyword that you want in the podcast from the search box above the player, and you can go to just that specific time of the podcast in order to listen to the rest of that. But if you had any other problem with listening to the podcast, you can reach me, and we have a highlight in this page, MamaNest Official, how to listen to podcasts. You can go and watch that. And so if you have any other question, I'm here to answer to you. And thank you for your time. And I hope that you would have a really, really delightful and pleasant weekend with your family ahead.